amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo.
You cannot do a thing to get Max out of jail if the real murderer hasn't been identified yet. Or you already know the person who murdered Horacio.
No, but a guilty party could turn up.
You must be feeling so powerful right now.
Of course.
Even I'd like to be the first one to tell everyone you're still alive. But we both have to just stick to our plan. We can't have Cesar and Lucrecia know that until the right time has come to do so.
What happened?
She did sign the divorce papers.
Fine, great. What about the land? You'll need to counter Juliana's land, Paraíso.
The trial for the homicide case against Maximiliano Montesinos is now being processed. The first hearing will be held next week, and the court will decide whether the coffee businessman in question is guilty or is innocent for the murder of his employee, Mr. Horacio Espinosa, the ex-husband of his sister-in-law, Amaya Serrano. In the meantime, he is still being detained at the maximum security state prison.
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo, nunca igual al de otra gente.
Good evening to you. We are so glad that you created time to join us right here on Prime Edition this Wednesday on the 18th day of August, the year 2021. We are edging closer towards the Devolution Conference 2021.
Yes, 23 from the 23rd, that is next week, the Devolution Conference kicks off. Of course, we're not too sure whether it will happen because there have been rumors that has been cancelled. Probably when the governor for Bomet, Governor Hilary Barchok, comes into studio, will confirm for us. But that's our guest tonight. We're taking stock of devolution 8 years on. And again, most importantly, talk about how was he able to be thrust into political leadership, having come from the classroom after the death of Governor Joyce Laboso. How was he, able to steer the county forward after such, sad news? And that's our conversation tonight with Dr. Mwalimu Hilary Barchok.
Turned politician. Interesting to find out how he managed that transition, though. That's coming up, plus more that we got lined up for you. Karen Kibet will be coming later with sports. Cynthia Nyamai will be bringing you the latest in the world of business. But first, let's get the highlights.
That the hours of curfew in the territory of the Republic of Kenya shall continue to be observed from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. for a further containment period of 60 days.
The curfew era. President Uhuru Kenyatta extends 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew for further 2 months, banning all political gatherings and campaigns. President Kenyatta meets a section of political leaders in Mombasa as his deputy William Ruto hosts Nairobi UDA aspirants.
The drought is now biting and the food deficit is serious.
Maji yani hakuna, msara pia imesha maji kabisa. Yani inakuwa shida kabisa.
And biting drought in the north. European Union pumps in $500 million shillings to help mitigate the effects.
All right, the hashtag is Prime Edition. Please engage us on our social media pages at KBC Channel 1. Once again, good evening. My name is Serfine Achieng, Ouma, and our sign language interpreter is Anne Wangeshi.
And my name is John Jacob Kioria. For the next 1 hour or so, let's tell you what is happening around the country. And President Uhuru Kenyatta has banned all political gatherings, including campaigns for upcoming by-elections, in a new review of COVID-19 containment measures issued Wednesday.
Now, the president has further extended the nationwide curfew rules for another 60 days, with the hours remaining the same.
Making his address in Mombasa, the president also directed that social gatherings, including weddings, be only open to not more than 100 persons. Let's have a look at the details.
While acknowledging the effectiveness of the existing measures in mitigating local community transmission of the coronavirus, the head of state stated that recent reports have indicated a sharp spike in infection rates across the country, occasioned by lack of adherence to the Ministry of Health's guidelines. The president saying statistics indicate that the counties of Kiambu, Nyandarua, Murang'a, Makueni, Machakos, Baringo, Meru and Nyeri have recorded a positivity rate of above 30% over the last week.
Recently evaluated reports have pointed to an exponential rise in infection rates across several counties, occasioned by unrestricted gatherings and congregations in breach of guidelines as issued by the Ministry of Health.
In a bid to avert further adverse impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, the president has directed that the nationwide dusk to dawn curfew to continue being observed between 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. for a further 60 days. Political gatherings, including rallies and campaign meetings, have been suspended for 60 days.
That all physical and in-person public gatherings and meetings, including political rallies and campaign meetings for impending by-elections, are hereby suspended with immediate effect for a period of 60 days. That all other social gatherings, including weddings, celebrations of marriage or traditional unions, ceremonies of rites of passage, funeral or cremation ceremonies, and or other similar events or ceremonies, shall strictly be attended by immediate family members and at any rate adhere to the 100% attendance limit as prescribed.
The head of state has further directed national government administration officers to secure compliance of these directives without fail, and all security sector agencies directed to ensure that organizers and individual leaders, including senior political leaders, take personal responsibility and are held to account for any violation of the measures.
Of course, the jury is out there on whether these politicians will adhere to the new directions by President Uhuru Kenyatta. In a related story, the High Court in Nairobi has declared the directives issued by the National Security Advisory Committee on the 7th of October 2020 to contain, restrict and prohibit public gatherings and processions in the name of combating COVID-19, which it said contained the weaponization of such meetings as unconstitutional and unlawful. In a judgment issued by Justice Anton Murima on a case filed by the Law Society of Kenya against the Attorney General and the Inspector General of Police on the COVID-19 containment measures, the court restrained the National Police Service from taking directives from the National Security Advisory Committee on how to execute its constitutional and statutory duties, save for the provisions of Article 157, subsection 4 and 245, subsection 4 of the Constitution on law enforcement.
Now on to matters COVID-19. 1,506 people have tested positive for COVID-19 from a sample size of 9,840 tested in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now at 15.3%, according to the Ministry of Health. From the latest cases, 1,473 are Kenyans, while 33 are foreigners. The youngest is a 5-month-old baby, while the oldest is 102 years. Total confirmed positive cases have increased to 224,400, while cumulative tests so far conducted are slightly over 2.2 million. One patient died in the last 24 hours, while 23 are late deaths reported after conducting facility record audits in the months of July and August 2021. This now pushes the cumulative fatalities to 4,378. Meanwhile, 208.7 million people globally have tested positive for coronavirus, while 4.38 million have succumbed since the pandemic broke out. Now to politics. Deputy President William Ruto says United Democratic Alliance Party primaries will be free, fair and credible. Ruto says the nomination process will be a testament of how the party is a formidable national political outfit anchored in long-term unity.
Deputy President William Ruto says the United Democratic Alliance will change the political path of the country by rescuing it from the jaws of ethnicity and placing it on a platform of economy-driven national dialogue.
We have an agenda, and the agenda we have as a party is to change the conversation and to change the politics of our nation from matters ethnicity, changing the constitution so that leaders can share power and positions, to a different conversation where the people are at the center.
Ruto further says UDA is committed to upholding a win-win approach when conducting party primaries.
There is no problem amongst Kenyans. There is a problem with the economy. And we are not just discussing matters economy. We are discussing matters bottom up that will lift the millions of young people in Kenya who today are languishing in joblessness.
The Deputy President spoke at his current residence when he consulted with more than 600 Nairobi County political aspirants drawn from UDA. Ruto also held discussions with the Turkana County leadership led by Governor Josphat Nanok on the COVID-19 pandemic and the economy. He called on politicians and political figures to put aside their differences and unite to solve the problems of ordinary people.
And let's continue keeping tabs on politics, and a section of Jubilee Party MPs are calling for a complete overhaul of the party leadership ahead of a 2022 general election. The leaders say there is a need to replace the current party leaders with fresh, youthful and vibrant leaders who will spearhead vigorous grassroots campaigns.
The Central Kenya Jubilee caucus say they could no longer ignore current developments within the party, claiming it has lost its vibrancy, especially after losing recent by-election in a region where it has enjoyed unrivaled support.
We have agreed to clean up our grassroots party leadership by replacing those that have betrayed the cause and abandoned ship with others loyal to the party.
So we are dealing with the local dynamics of Central Province. We are going to do our replacement of the people who have defected and bring in fresh blood. We are going to look at what it is that is lacking, and then we're going to move this party forward from Central Province.
The leaders have also agreed to assist the Jubilee Party to engage other like-minded parties to build winning alliances and deliver victory in the 2022 general elections.
And we are strengthening Jubilee from the grassroots. And I know for sure that Jubilee will still remain as it is, a very strong, vibrant party that will be able to negotiate with other like-minded parties.
We want to have a strong party so that any other person who is coming to negotiate with us or with our party leader then will find a party that is a strong party.
Businessman turned politician Jimmy Wanjigi is in the meantime calling on Kenyans to rally behind his 2022 presidential bid, saying it is time for the third generation liberators to take over the mantle of the country's leadership.
Wakati wao umeisha, Wao ni heroes, ni washujaa wa second liberation. Hii ni ingine. Hii ni ingine. Na hii ingine hatuwezi kwenda mbele na watu ambao wamekaa huko miaka 30.
Meanwhile, Kandara MP Alice Wahome has accused the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission IEBC for the late submission of campaign financing regulations to Parliament. Wahome said that the submission of budget regulations did not meet timelines as stated in the law.
So they will not be in use for this particular coming general elections. But they can now bring them for purposes of the next elections. And they needed to engage first, and before publishing, we have something we call pre-publication scrutiny. We hadn't even gone through that with them.
Elsewhere, the Linda Katiba Civil Society Group has expressed concerns that the BBI proponents will find a way to implement the BBI even if the appeal is dismissed by appellate court this Friday.
They're not just going to give up. They will find another way. So this struggle is going to go on for quite some time.
Suleiman Yeri, Prime Edition.
Now, leaving politics aside, the European Union, through the National Drought Management Authority, has released 500 million shillings to Kenya to help mitigate the effects of drought. Speaking today after a meeting with the development partners, Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa lauded the move, saying the funds will go to water tracking in 10 counties facing severe drought. Timothy Kipnusu with the details.
Karimani Primary School in Bamba Ward, Kilifi County. Only 100 out of the 250 pupils are in school, while the rest have kept away from class due to search for water that has become a rare commodity due to the biting drought.
Sisi tunateseka kwa sababu ya maji. Ambaye sasa maji ilipatikana hapa, mwenye alikuwa anasema atafuta hiyo maji huko. Imekuwa shida.
Elephants are also said to have moved out of the Tsavo National Park and invaded human settlements where they are scrambling for water in catchment areas.
Saa hizi wakati ya kiangazi hatuna mahali pa kupata maji, na wanajaribu kufanya ukarabati. Hata hiyo piping yenye wamejaribu kufanya hapo, wamefanya ukarabati kwa sababu unaona funga na blada.
A similar situation is being witnessed in Nasiger village in Turkana County. Residents fear the condition will worsen if it does not rain soon.
Tuko na shida ya maji tu. Jua linakuanga kali. Tunaenda kuchota maji huko kwa ile milima huko na Peitanit.
Both Kilifi and Turkana are among the 10 counties identified by the government as worst hit by the current drought. The situation worsened by 2 desert locust invasions, COVID-19 pandemic and poor rains have resulted in food scarcity. Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa was saying the government has set up a multi-agency team to coordinate response to the drought situation in the country.
The drought is now biting, and the food deficit is serious. So we're looking at how we can further boost support to the counties, to affected families, to ensure they have enough food, to ensure that the animals have pasture.
He said the response requires 8.7 billion shillings to mitigate the drought situation.
All the UN agencies have been mobilized, the EU. We are happy that USAID is also here. They are our partners. And we are happy that even China, that has been supporting us with relief food when we had the drought in 2017.
So we are also calling upon our partners who are ready, eager to put some resources into this kitty to help us respond on drought.
It is estimated that 2 million people are already in either the crisis or emergency drought phases. It is projected that the drought situation in the country might get worse between the months of September and December. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
Thank you, Timothy. And that report by Kipnusu ushers us into our first break on Prime Edition, but still more to come.
Yes, and when we return, we'll be talking to the Governor for Bomet County, Dr. Hilary Barchok. We'll talk about development in the county, but also importantly, ahead of the devolution conference. What can we say about devolution? Taking stock, what has been achieved 8 years on? What are the hits? What are the misses? That's the conversation tonight, and Daktari is already in studio.
All right, do stay for that and much more coming up after the break.
Hili ni darasa la kuzima moto. Vijana hawa ambao wamekaa hapa wanajifundisha jinsi ya kuzima moto ule ambao uko kwa msituni. Ni kama kawaida kila wakati wanapofanya kazi huko nje, moto unaweza kutokea mahali popote. Kwa hiyo ni kazi ya vijana wa taifa kila wakati kuwa tayari kuzima moto. Na mafunzo haya yote yanatolewa kwa sababu ya kuwafanya hawa vijana tu kuwa katika hali ya physical fitness. Hii ni mafunzo mojawapo ambayo ni muhimu sana katika National Youth Service.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email newsroom@kbc.co.ke, call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
Awe ndo barakwenu.
Swala bado ni ngumu sana na ni nzito. Bado kuna la maana.
Umefuta nini humu ndani?
Nimekuja hapa ili tuongee. Lakini kama upendezi na mimi kabisa.
Sasa tuongee nini mimi na wewe? Tuongee nini? Mimi si mwizi. Wewe ni mwizi. Mimi ni klepto. Pebu ambie. Mwambie. Pebu ambie.
Visa vya ugonjwa wa malaria vimepungua kwa asilimia kubwa nchini Kenya kutokana na mikakati madhubuti iliyowekwa chini ya uongozi wa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Wiki hii kwenye Project 254,
if we do not address malaria and take decisive actions to eliminate it, we will continue to see more deaths from this easily preventable disease.
Kwa ajili ya kutumia ile neti, wengine kama mimi naitumia vizuri na naona ile mambo ya magonjwa kwangu nyumbani sio sana.
Wakati mwingi huko nyuma nilikuwa naugua malaria kwa sana, na nilikuwa natibiwa, bado inarejelea tu.
Wiki hii,
get the VIP access to the best shows on KBC Channel 1. We have something different, something special to spice you up. Get ready for new, exciting and captivating dramas.
Nikifa utapumzika.
Movies.
I love the smell.
Comedy.
I went to the purpose. Huh?
Drama.
Will you assault the Queen in my house, in my presence?
News, sports and so much more. Do the things that make you happy on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Edition, and our conversation tonight on Extra Mile, we're talking to the Governor for Bomet County, Dr. Hilary Barchok, who is already in studio. Let me introduce him, sir. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, John,
yes,
for giving me an opportunity at least to have some discussion with Kenyans. Yes.
All right. Let's begin with, since Governor Dr. Joyce Laboso died in 2019, having campaigned with her in 2017, you were direct from a classroom. And here you are, 1 year or two after your election, the governor is gone, and now you have to take up the leading role. How did you steer Bomet County forward after that sad incident?
Thank you, John. As you have clearly indicated, I came directly from classroom to politics, In fact, I joined the late governor 3 months into the election because I came in, I think it was around May, and the elections was in August. I served with the late for 2 years, and then she left us. This is something that I was not prepared for because one, I think in my priorities, joining politics was the least in terms of priorities.
It was the least among
the so many priorities that I had in my life. So I didn't want to join politics. One is the picture that had been painted about the politicians. There is this belief that when you join politics, you become a liar because you say things that you are not committed to ensuring that you fulfill them. But all the same, I was thrust into politics through the appointment of the late Dr. Joyce Laboso, that she mentored me for close to 2 years. When she left us, of course, it was not very easy fitting into her shoe. This was a great politician. But I want to thank God. In the 2 years that I served with her, all the decisions that we made, we did a lot of consolidation. I was in the picture of everything that was happening in the county. And that made it a bit easier for me to actually continue steering the county to where it is even at the moment. So it was not very easy for me adjusting to the environment that I was now the chief executive officer in charge of the county of Bomet. Taking the new roles of being a governor, adjusting to the political environment, it was not very easy for me. But I want to thank God. Being a teacher sometimes makes you to be very versatile, and that is why I was able to adapt to the new challenges very fast. Yeah.
It is your background in education that helped you to adapt very fast.
Yes. Yeah.
In terms of implementing her vision, because you campaigned together in 2017, that means you had a shared vision for Bomet County. How have you been able to carry forward her aspirations as well as yours being a joint ticket?
Thank you so much, John. And we campaigned under a platform for change. We wanted to change the lives of our people in Bomet. We had a manifesto that had 7 pillars, and I have not deviated from that manifesto. It cut across all the sectors that we have, from education, health, agriculture, water, infrastructure, and even the governance issues. And that is the Bible that I'm using at the moment to ensure that the vision that the late governor had about Bomet County is achieved. I normally say she has rested, but the vision that she had still lives on, because I've made a commitment to the people of Bomet that I will ensure that we deliver on that promise that we gave to the people of Bomet when we are campaigning. So, and I want to thank the people of Bomet because of the support that they have given to me. The leadership that we have in Bomet, the MPs, the senators, the women rep, the MCAs, all of them have been very supportive. And that's why Bomet has been very quiet. And when the place is quiet, it means there's something that is going on, something good that we are doing at the moment. And I want to tell you that we will deliver on that promise, despite the challenges that we are facing as counties, especially the issues of finances. But I want to thank God that where we were in 2017, there is a lot of improvement, and hopefully in the next 1 year, at least we'll be able to report back to the people when we are going back even to campaign for the 2022 elections. There is something that we will say we have done in the 5 years.
And we'll talk about the 2022 general election in a bit, but you've talked about the 7 pillars, the vision that you shared between yourself and Governor Joyce Laboso, the late. And I'm thinking about the health function. Let us square this, I think, once and for all, because much of what you get out here is that people think county governments have been unable to function optimally when it comes to the issue of the health function when it is under county governments. Tell us about the management of the health function and how county governments are faring, bearing in mind that the devolution conference is upcoming.
Thank you. I think one thing that we need to appreciate, and I want to believe this could be the best thing that ever happened to this country is devolution. There are things that we've been able to do as counties that we could not imagine that it could be done. There are areas that we have been able to open up, like in infrastructure and so forth. So health is fully devolved. Of course, the national government is assisting us in making policies and giving us technical advice. But much of the health has been devolved. So we are running that function as county governments. Of course, we have challenges. As much as I want, I'm saying that devolution is the best thing that ever happened to this country. In health, we have been having challenges, especially in the area of infrastructure, in the area of human resource, the technical people that we require even to run. Where we have facilities still, you'll find some counties still having challenges in ensuring that they maximize on those facilities that we have in our facilities. So, but in my own assessment, I think we have done fairly well in terms of our management of health facilities. And ensuring that our people get the best health services that we can afford.
Sorry to cut you short, Governor.
Yes.
You appear to admit there are challenges.
Yeah.
Where are these challenges? Where do they emanate from?
Now, I've pointed out one, the issue of infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
Yeah, putting in place that infrastructure requires a lot of money. So, and remember, there are competing priorities. We also require medicine for these facilities. So sometimes you weigh putting up those structures and ensuring that you have supplies in our facilities. Which one do you put priority? I mean, prioritize. Of course, people like in my county, we have set and prioritized to have dispensaries in all the sub-locations that we have.
Okay.
When we came in 2017, there were around 36 sub-locations that didn't have dispensaries, but we have since reduced the number because we have set up a number of facilities. But as you set up these facilities, remember you have to increase the personnel. You have to increase the allocation that will go to these facilities because they have to run these facilities in terms of all those services, that supportive services that they require in a facility, a dispensary. There are issues to do with, of course, wage bill. There is a limit. So sometimes we want to prioritize and have staff within our facilities. But if we overshoot, you'll also miss money for other development in other areas. So we have been having issues to do with infrastructure expansion. We have been having issues to do with personnel, like people working in the radiology departments has been a challenge. We have machines in some of the facilities that are lying idle, not because of anything else. But
does that include the ones that were leased by government back in 2014?
Yes, quite a number in some counties. But I want to say in Bomet, I think we have done fairly well in terms of maximizing those equipments. All of them are in use. But generally what I'm saying, as counties, we have faced challenges to do with personnel and infrastructure.
All right.
Yeah.
Marry that with the universal health care, because it was cast as, you know, the silver bullet to issues of accessible healthcare and affordable healthcare. And I'm sure it was piloted in 4 counties and then it was rolled up in the other counties. Tell us how you're faring as county governments in terms of implementation of this vision and probably some of the challenges that county governments are facing in implementing UHC.
Thank you. That was a noble idea. And as you have said, it was piloted in a number of counties, which include Kisumu, Machakos, and I think the other one was Nyeri and
Isiolo.
But of course, in any piloting, there are lessons that we learned. So that's why normally we implement programs or projects in small scale so that at least you can learn some of the challenges and work on those challenges so that when you roll out that program or whatever project that you have, it will be a success. Unfortunately, from what was done, I think we didn't document very well some of the challenges that the program faced. And still, The most challenging issue that I think is facing that program is actually the issue of financing. One, there is a large proportion of our people that are living in poverty and they cannot afford health. We have a number that are actually in informal sector. A large percentage are not even enrolled in the NHIF and so forth. We also have a number of people that are dropping out of these insurance programs and so forth, which means we have a lot to do. Now, when it comes to this large proportion of people that are living in poverty and they may not be able to pay for the insurance, it means we have to look for an alternative way of financing that. And this is the challenge that we are facing as counties. Taking an example of Bomet, I think last month, it was the end of last month, we rolled out our program to support 10,000 households by enrolling them in NHIF. So, but when we went around the villages and the 25 wards that we have, there are so many people that are needy. As much as we are talking of 10,000 households, there are others, so many of them, that are in need of support. So, if we will be able to support these people, and then I think as a country we'll have done a good thing to our people. But sustainability of this program is a challenge because it means we need to pump in money every year because to support the 10,000 households we require 60 million as a county. Now, getting 60 million every year, and as I've mentioned, we have competing priorities. Will it be sustainable? That is the challenge that we have. And probably we need to bring more people on board, and we need to think of a better model of financing our healthcare. Otherwise, it will be a challenge.
All right. Yeah. I'm still on healthcare, and I'm thinking about your proximity. First of all, Bomet is in the Lake Region counties, and the country had to close those counties for some time, perhaps even readjust curfew hours. Tell us how Bomet has been able to deal with the surging numbers of COVID-19 in Lake Region counties.
As much as we are talking of Lake Region or LREB region, I think COVID is a challenge all over. We were under lockdown, but I'm happy at least today the president was able to lift that lockdown, especially in LREB region, which has, I think, 14 counties, one of which is Bomet. So there have been a number of challenges associated with COVID-19, and it has affected lives and livelihoods of our people. The economy has been depressed because of that.
Yes.
And that has been a challenge. The reduced number of hours that people are working affected a number of sectors that we have in the country, from the hotel industries to whatever small-scale businesses that we have within the community that has been supporting the lives of our people. So we have been struggling like any other county that we have in this country. And I think to some extent, I want to say that we are almost adapting to the new norm that we have within the community. Well, of course, a number of businesses have closed down, a number of people have lost their jobs and so forth. But I think we have to live with this COVID. We have to find ways of adapting because we don't know for how long it will be with us, but we have to adapt.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. When you talk about COVID-19, I was reading a report just the other day, and so there was a commissioning that was done to see how easy it is for county governments to acquire oxygen plants by themselves. And you realize there's quite a number of counties that don't have an oxygen plant. First of all, does Bomet have one?
We do have oxygen plant in Bomet, and this has a capacity of producing 9,000 liters per hour.
9,000 liters per hour.
9,000 liters per hour.
Okay.
And this is a very huge volume. For example, Kenyatta, I'm told, uses around 8,000 liters per hour. So, in other words, we are producing an excess of 1,000 liters if we were to supply Kenyatta National Hospital. This is a facility that we installed when we came into the office. We did have a small one that was installed by the first government. But when we came in with the late Dr. Choice Laboso, we installed this facility. All our beds that we have in Logisa Referral Hospital are piped with oxygen. We are also supplying oxygen to some of our private hospitals that we have in Bomet, like Ablong Mission Hospital. At the moment, we are also assisting some of our neighbors, like Siloam Hospital in Kericho. We are also supplying them with oxygen. We have been also able to support even ambulances that are transporting patients all the way from Nyanza to Nairobi or whichever sides of this country, so long as they have the containers, we normally fill them free of charge. The only thing that we have been insisting is, if we are giving you free of charge, please don't sell it. Or if you have to do it, then it should be subsidized, because we are giving them free of charge, we don't sell. So I'm happy, as much as we are complaining that we don't have oxygen in our facilities, in Bomet we have a lot of oxygen. Even our private hospitals like the NWEG, they also do have oxygen plants. So we have a lot of oxygen in Bomet.
Let's talk about the agriculture sector, because I understand my time is running out. But there's something very interesting. Bomet is now selling tea to Iran? Yes. All right. How did you get that?
Now, we have to be strategic, and the industry has suffered a lot in terms of the prices that our tea has been fetching. And I think if we have to improve on that, then we have to move away from the traditional markets that we have. And this started, I think, somewhere around 2020. Last year, when I visited the embassy of Iran, we had some discussions on looking for opportunities for investment within our county, and even opportunities for our people in Iran. And the area that we narrowed down to was the area of tea. So the ambassador of Iran, Dr. Bamaki, visited Bomet. We were able to tour the tea farms, and the small-scale farmers, and even the large-scale farmers. And I was also invited to visit Iran. We toured Iran, and for your information, some people would want to imagine that Iran is a desert. It is not. The upper part of it, they produce a lot of tea. So in a province called Kilan. So we had some chats with the governor of Kilan, and we had even agreed to come up with an MOU so that we can have joint marketing with that province, now being a friend of Bomet. We drafted an MOU, which we have processed. It has gone through the Ministry of Devolution. Now it has been lying in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the last 9 months. So we have not been given that support by I want to say the national government, so that to ensure that we effect that MOU. But all the same, that did not prevent us from moving on with the plan that we have to improve the prices of tea, the earnings that comes to our farmers. So through our discussion and the network that we developed in Iran, we have been able to do the first shipment to Iran. And this was a direct sales from one of our private factories to buyers in Iran. How many kilos, how many tons? Yeah, we were able to sell 84 tons. 84? For a start. Okay. Yeah, and in fact, we are planning to go to Iran, wait not for the elections and swearing in of the president and the lockdown that followed after the swearing in of the new president that was on 5th of this month. But we still have plans, although they have extended the lockdown to next week, but we have plans to visit Iran and follow our tea and demonstrate that this thing is possible, so long as we have commitment. Yeah, and they are fetching good prices, by the way. I don't want to mention it here, but good prices for our tea.
All right, very interesting. Governor, I understand I'm running out of time, and I've been asked to wind up this interview. But before we do, are you going to seek re-election as the Governor of Bomet County?
Yes. Of course, I have to serve full term to ensure that we fulfill on the promise that we had given to the people of Bomet. So 5 years is not enough. We require at least 10 years to at least do 90 or close to 99% of the promise that we had given to the people of Bomet.
Right.
So next year, as we prepare, I'm also preparing for myself for a comeback.
And you're confident you're going to be the likes of Plogom?
Why not?
Kira is a recruiter.
Our development record speaks for itself.
All right.
So if people are interested in development, Barchok is the man.
All right.
Yeah.
If you're interested in development, Barchok is the man. Thank you very much, Governor.
Thank you so much
for honoring us and coming tonight. And fantastic job you're doing. Wish you God's grace again as you continue with your job and serving the people of Bomet. That's why we wind up Extra Mile. Cindy Jamaa is up next with the business. Don't go too far.
My name is Fayaz Qureshi. After a long spell, I'm back and ready to grace your screens. This Saturday, I will take you through the weekend's newsmakers and conversation with a Kenyan legend on their work and life. Tune in to the Legends Edition this and every Saturday at 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente. De otro modo.
You cannot do a thing to get Max out of jail if the real murderer hasn't been identified yet. Or you already know the person who murdered Horacio.
No, but a guilty party could turn up.
You must be feeling so powerful right now, huh?
Of course.
Even I'd like to be the first one to tell everyone you're still alive. But we both have to just stick to our plan. We can't have Cesar and Lucrecia know that until the right time has come to do so.
What's happened?
She did sign the divorce papers.
Fine, great. What about the land? You need to counter Juliana's land, Paraíso.
The trial for the homicide case against Maximiliano Montesinos is now being processed. The first hearing will be held next week, and the court will decide whether the coffee businessman in question is guilty or is innocent for the murder of his employee, Mr. Horacio Espinosa, the ex-husband of his sister-in-law, Amaya Serrano. In the meantime, he is still being detained at the maximum security state prison.
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente. De otro modo, nunca igual al de otra gente.
Welcome to Business. I am Cynthia Nyamai. Now, the long wait for compensation for customers of insurance companies that went under is finally coming to an end as the Policyholders Compensation Fund kicked off honoring the claims. Customers of Concord Insurance, which went under in 2013, are the first beneficiaries, with each being compensated up to 250,000 Kenya shillings. As Regina Manyara narrates, the statutory fund is also in the process of compensating those affected by Blue Shield, United and Standard Insurance companies.
Concord Insurance, that was underwriting private and commercial motor businesses, was placed under statutory management in 2013 after it failed to settle claims and meet other financial obligations.
But we're happy to report that the law has changed now, such that we can be able to compensate those policyholders immediately a company goes under, of course, in the unfortunate event that they cannot be able to meet their obligations.
1,572 that had insured with Concord Insurance are to be compensated.
The fund in the current financial year of 2021-2022, we have set aside 1 billion shillings for compensation of policyholders. Now, this first phase of compensating Concord will be to a tune of 390 million shillings.
Despite this, only 30 have so far lodged claims to be paid up to 250,000 shillings, which is the maximum amount payable by the Policyholders Compensation Fund.
It is also worth noting that these amendments gave rise to the expansion of the mandate of the fund to include statutory management and liquidation, thus enhancing the role of the fund.
Masita says the statutory fund has initiated processes for compensation of 690 claimants of Standard Assurance Company Limited, United Insurance, and 2,058 claimants of United Insurance Company that are also under statutory management.
Given this unique niche, there is indeed need for support and collaboration from stakeholders, partners, and the government in ensuring that the fund remains at the forefront amongst insurance guarantee schemes in Africa and the world over.
The compensation cash is from a kitty that insurance companies contribute to at a rate of 0.25% of premiums paid by customers. Even as insurance penetration remains low, observers say that this move by PCF might just be the required game changer in as far as uptake of insurance is concerned, especially where the unimaginable happens. I'm Regina Manyara reporting for Prime Edition.
And now to the banking sector, where Corp Bank Group made 10.5 billion shillings in pre-tax profit during the first 6 months of this year, representing an increase of 10%. Net interest income grew from 15.9 billion shillings to 18.8 billion shillings, while total operating expenses grew by 28% to 18.7 billion shillings on account of the lender doubling its loan loss provisions.
During the first 6 months of this year, Corp Bank increased its net loans and advances from 272.2 billion shillings to 301.2 billion shillings. This helped push up net interest income by 18% to 18.8 billion shillings, while total non-interest income grew by 24% to 10.3 billion shillings. However, the increased lending came at a cost as the lender's total operating expenses grew 28% to 18.7 billion shillings on account of 123 prudential growth in loan loss provisions. Corp Bank Group CEO Gideon Muriuki said loan loss provisions was increased 4.2 billion shillings in appreciation of the challenges that businesses and households continue to face due to the economic effects of the ongoing pandemic. The increased operating expenses ate into the lender's profitability that grew by 10% from 9.6 billion shillings to 10.5 billion shillings. Muriuki says loans worth 49 billion shillings were restructured during the CBK restructure window that ended on 31st March 2021 to support customers impacted by the pandemic. He further says the bank has successfully moved 93% of all customer transactions to alternative delivery channels such as mobile banking, ATMs, internet banking, and Corp Kwajirani banking terminals. He says M-Corp Cash mobile wallet is disbursing on average 5.6 billion shillings monthly. All of the group subsidiaries posted profits save for Cooperative Bank of South Sudan that a monetary loss of 290 million shillings on account of currency devaluation of the South Sudanese pound.
Pastoralists are calling on the national government to roll out the livestock off-take program as drought bites in parts of the country. Leaders from the Amaya Triangle counties, that is Laikipia, Samburu, Baringo and Isiolo, have vowed to lobby Parliament to allocate funds for veterinary services that is key in the success of the off-take program. The 4 counties have rolled out a joint coordination program on disease control.
We have also called upon
the National Assembly to ensure that they also consider giving a budget to that sector, especially to KMC, to assist our region on offtake program. 3, development of joint framework of engagement of the inter-county livestock movement. This is an agreement that we have a framework. This is going to be drafted by all the Department of Agriculture within the 4 counties.
So I want to say to all of you, as senior managers, as technocrats, as political leaders, the solution is here among us. Let us craft those solutions together and implement them and continue the way we have begun, to track regularly and to see what we need to do to get better outcomes.
Now that story wraps up business for today. Sports is coming up shortly after the break.
Kupata aliye mzuri kama skiza tune, bonyeza *811 *817 hash.
Usiwahi kumwacha mtu mzuri kwa matarajio ya kumpata mzuri zaidi, kwani unaporejea kumtafuta aliye mzuri utampata alishaponyoka na kumpata anayemdhamini.
Kupata aliye mzuri kama skiza tune, bonyeza *811 *817 hash. *811 *817 hash.
Visa vya ugonjwa wa malaria vimepungua kwa asilimia kubwa nchini Kenya kutokana na mikakati madhubuti iliyowekwa chini ya uongozi wa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Wiki hii kwenye Project 254,
if we do not address malaria and take decisive actions to eliminate it, we will continue to see more deaths from this easily preventable disease.
Kwa ajili ya kutumia ile neti, wengine kama mimi nitumia vizuri na naona ile mambo ya magonjwa kwangu nyumbani sio sana.
Wakati mwingi huko nyuma nilikuwa naugua malaria kwa sana, na nilikuwa natibiwa, bado inarejelea tu.
Wiki hii
Welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Sylvia Chelagat became the first Kenyan to qualify for the final of the 400 meters in the 18th edition of the World Under-20 Championships at the Kasarani Stadium that commenced today. Chelagat finished in the second position in Heat 3, timing 53.49 seconds behind Iyamabong Nse of Nigeria, who timed 52.33 seconds.
Back straight.
The 18th edition of the World Under-20 Athletics Championship commenced today at Kasarani Stadium. Sylvia Chelagat became the first Kenyan to qualify for the final of the 400 meters. She clocked 53.49 seconds behind Iyamabong Nse of Nigeria, who timed 52.33 seconds. Indian Priya Mohan qualified as the next fastest athlete.
That's a key to the final. Iyamabong Nse of Nigeria striding away. There's Caitlin Bob. She's eased off too early. Caitlin Bob pipped on the line by Sylvia Chelagat.
The final of the 400 meters will be held this Saturday. In the men's 400 meters, Kennedy Kimeu also qualified for the final after finishing second in Heat 3. Meanwhile, all COVID-19 protocols were observed during the championship on day one.
We are getting better, and I think we are in a good place as at now. Yes, inside the stadium we are very strict. You have to have a mask. If you don't have one, then everybody keeps reminding you to wear one. So yeah, we are very strict in terms of that. Yes, so we are getting to a very good place. Yeah.
Frederick Muki for Prime Edition.
Thank you, Muki, for that report. Moving on, the Kenya National Paralympic team's last piece of the puzzle was fixed today before the team's departure on Saturday to the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games, set to begin on the 24th of this month in Japan. The team on Wednesday was in a 3-hour media training session to prepare the Paralympians on how to respond to media queries.
In the past years, Kenyan athletes have faced challenges when put on the spot during global events, especially by the international media. And just before the Kenya Paralympics team heads to Japan on Saturday, they were trained on dealing with media queries. During the training session, the team of 16 athletes was trained on various ways of responding to media interviews, from mental to physical preparation and also replies of different questions. The training session was organized by the Kenya National Paralympics Committee to advise the athletes on their roles at competitions and to motivate them when they face journalists both locally and internationally. Before the training, all athletes were subjected to COVID-19 tests and will also be tested tomorrow, just 2 days before their departure to Tokyo.
Kulingana na mazoezi yenye tumefanya, nimejiprepare mzuri kwa mazoezi kama ya 1200 meters. Nimekimbia na time ya 3:07 na 400 meters ya 57. So hapo niko na confidence ya kushinda medali.
Since it's my first time, objectives niko nazo ni mbili. First, sitakuwa mwisho. I don't want to be the last there. Na nataka kuingia kwa final A.
Kuna changamoto kubwa ambayo tuko nayo kwa sababu tunaweza enda race. Nimesema tunakimbia race moja kwa mwaka 4 ambayo inaweza kukusaidia. Ndio ndipo tukasema kwamba tunahitaji serikali ya Kenya watusaidie kama wanaweza kututafutia mahali ambapo tunaweza kujimaintain.
Kenya will be represented by 9 athletes in 3 disciplines at the Paralympic Games, aiming to continue writing history since they started doing so at the 1972 Paralympic Games in Heidelberg, Germany.
Maandalizi ambayo tumejiandaa, tunashukuru kwa sababu tuliingia kambi. This is historic ambaye tumeingia kambi miezi 2. Hapo awali hatukuwa tunaingia kambi miezi 2 tuondoke, lakini tunashukuru. Maandalizi imekuwa vizuri na mimi najua tutasoa medali katika nchi ya Kenya.
Tunapoondoka hapa nchini Kenya kuelekea Tokyo, madhumuni yetu kuu ni kuja na medali. Na sio medali pekee bali medali za dhahabu. Kwa hiyo tumejitayarisha vilivyo tukienda kuwakilisha nchi letu kadri ya uwezo wetu.
The Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games will be held from the 24th of this month to 5th September in Japan.
A total of 40 drivers have confirmed taking part in the upcoming 4x4 challenge set to take place on 21st and 22nd August at the Champagne Park in Kipeto, Kajiado County. According to the organizers, led by Clerk of Course Harry Thuku, the event has attracted much interest from participants after missing in action for the last 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
A total of 40 drivers will compete in the upcoming 4x4 challenge on 21st and 22nd August at Champagne Park in Kipeto, Kajiado County. The event has been categorized in 3 classes for beginners who will run on standard 4x4 cars with basic safety requirements, intermediates who must have roll cages and helmets, and the experts who will be entering properly built cars with bucket seats.
We've improved the courses, we've put new sections. We've also decided to have more on the when we say courses, the event will take, the new courses will increase the event more and make it look more interesting.
We have very new stages which we've introduced. I'm expecting there'll be about 8 expert stages, another 5 or so for intermediate, and beginners will also have about 5 stages. But they are very exciting. Some of them are quite long.
Head of Marshals John Jenga said all the government protocols have been put in place to ensure the spread of coronavirus is contained at the venue. The off-road spectacle that captures the competitive spirit of motorsport enthusiasts returns in August after a 2-year absence due to suspension of contact sporting activities. The competition will bring together all off-road vehicles involving standard 4x4s, modified 4x4s, rock crawlers, quads, bikes plus special vehicles in the open class category like pickups. Beginners come in with their everyday used 4x4 vehicles to test the car's power, as well as the driver's skill to maneuver the course set out.
We are looking forward for a very good event ahead. It's been a while since the event has happened. We have been working on the cars, all the drivers have been working on their vehicles for a couple of long time and not getting a chance to go outside.
Weather iko sawa, we really need that month. Hata kukinyesha, we are ready for the tracks. We have been there before and we know how to handle it.
The intermediate stage involves attending a minimum 3 trainings offered at Champagne Park when the track is not being used for competitions, while at the expert level, one must take up additional trainings of a minimum 20 sessions and own a modified vehicle having good tires with great treads.
And that's all we had for you right here at the KBC Primetime Sports Desk. Let's do this all over again tomorrow. My name is Karen Kibet. Do have yourself a lovely night, but the broadcast is not yet over, as I do hand you back to Serfine and Kioria.
All right, and taking the mantle from Karen, it's time for us to exit. Thank you very much for your feedback. And I see the people of Umeta really awake.
Yeah, and watching.
You know, and fact-checking their governor at one point. Quite interesting. And we thank you all for watching.
All right, that's how we wrap it up. Thank you so much for creating time for us tonight. The rave is coming up next, so don't go too far. We are just going to be exiting, but that is coming up right after this. My name is Achieng Ouma, and our sign language interpreter for tonight has been Anne Wangeshi. Have a good night.
And my name is John Jacob Kioria. I would have said something in reggae, but then let's wait until they do their bit. Good night.